rely on marketing more than ever to connect with audiences, one podcast aims to make sense of it all. This is Movies and Marketing.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Go ahead, make my day.
How about news, you crazy Dutch bastard?
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Take a look around, we're at the threshold of hell!
We might as well have a good time.
I am an FBI agent!
In a distant future, in an age of intelligent machines.
Do you remember the movie AI?
I do. I liked that movie, but that movie made me sad.
Yeah, I should watch it again. I don't remember a lot about it other than the Sixth Sense kid, a robot, who runs away, and then the world is weird, right?
Yeah. I liked it at the time, but I don't like to rewatch it. You know those kind of movies where you're just like,
Yeah, I don't feel good.
I don't feel good at the end of the movie.
I heard they said if that movie makes you feel uneasy, it's because you're an artificial intelligence. The government made that movie as a test. They're like, how will we find out? How will we weed them out? And they're like, we got it. We'll make a movie. We'll say it's by Steven Spielberg. And then people watch it. And if they like feel a certain way, we'll know. Then we can track them.
They'll say it on a podcast.
They'll say it on a podcast 22 years after the movie was released. And then we got them.
And we got them.
It's the long game.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, what we're talking about today is AI.
Yeah. Not necessarily the movie AI. I don't think anybody's really talking about that.
No, nobody's talking about it.
So just, to clarify, we're not going to spend this episode talking about the movie AI, which, though a fine film, is just not the topic of this episode. Instead, we're going to be playing with AI. We're going to be testing AI, and we're going to be seeing if AI has the merit to make it in Hollywood, seeing if it has the creative guts to be in the movie business.
We were just talking off the air. A lot of people are using it to try out things in their profession to help them as a tool, right?
Yeah. People are using this for all sorts of things all over the place. I mean, it's just sweeping the world very quickly. Everybody's like, wow, this can do this. I can't believe Chat GPT can help me here. With that comes a lot of people like, oh my God, is this going to take my job? Even people in creative fields are like, I mean, is this going to replace writers? Is this going to replace producers? Is eventually like, is there going to be no more actors? Is it just going to all be AI? It's an interesting state we're in of the world right now where this is infinite possibilities, but also swirled in with that infinite fears of what this could bring along with it.
I can tell you right now, Shad, it's not going to take our jobs.
Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, as podcasters, I mean, it'll take all the other jobs that we do, but this is, it can't do this.
No, this one is nobody could replace us. And it's impossible.
It can't take it, and nor would it want to, because nobody wants this job.
No, AI would be like, I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah, I'm not going to podcast.
I have to make up movie plots for some guy.
It reminds me of the movie Her, where it's just doing all of these things simultaneously. We think it's only here for us, but it's actually doing all these other things for everyone else. And you're like, well, I thought you were my friend, Chat GPT, Bard, whatever else is out there.
I thought you were just here for me, Bard. Her is a great one. Her, if you haven't seen the movie Her, excellent movie. And we should all have AI voiced by, Scarlett Johansson.
Absolutely. So on today's episode, we're sharing movie pitches produced by AI. Why? For the reasons we just talked about. Everybody's talking about it.
And we know Hollywood right now, they're in need of some original ideas. Mm-hmm. So we thought, let's bring in Chat GPT. Let's do a little testing. Let's have a little fun. Let's see if they can churn out some big new movies. Let's get these things made. Get them in the can right now. So we'll provide the prompts. We'll see how good the AI would be at engineering the next blockbuster when it's assisted by two bozos like us.
I like that you identified us as bozos.
it's important to, if it comes up with bad ideas that, maybe it's not entirely the AI's fault.
That's a critical component of the movie pitch.
Bozos. We've each come up with a few ideas for, simple, basic plots, maybe some settings, a few actors that could possibly be in it. We're going to feed that into the AI and we're going to see what they come up with for this movie idea. And we're going to see, hey, is it good? Is there potential here? We got some meat here. Can we pitch this? How good is it? We're going to give our thoughts on that. Bring up the machine. Let me get my first one ready here. All right. So my first movie, here's my idea. It's about a futuristic ad agency where humans and robots work together. And it's got a big cast, because there's all these people working in this office. Okay. It stars Al Pacino, Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson, who we just mentioned, Michael B. Jordan, and Halle Berry.
Wow.
So we've got people of different ages, all working together. Maybe they're friends, maybe they're enemies. Let's find out. Let's see the plot of this movie, what it's going to be about. All right. Here's what the AI has come up with. In a not too distant future, advertising has evolved to the point where it's not just about convincing people to buy products, but also about changing the way they think and behave. The world's most successful ad agency, led by its charismatic founder and CEO, Al Pacino, is at the forefront of this trend, using cutting-edge technology and a team of both humans and robots to create highly targeted and effective campaigns. Tom Hanks plays the team's top human creative director, a brilliant and hardworking visionary who's always looking for the next big idea. Scarlett Johansson is the head of the robotics division, responsible for developing and maintaining the agency's sophisticated AI systems. Michael B. Jordan is a rising star in the agency, a young executive with a talent for finding the perfect message for each client. And Halle Berry is a human-robot hybrid, the product of the agency's experimental program to merge human creativity with robotic efficiency. The movie follows this team as they tackle a series of high-stakes campaigns for a range of clients, from global corporations to political candidates. As they work together, tensions rise between the human and robot employees, with each side believing they are superior. However, when a massive cyber attack threatens to bring down the entire agency and erase years of work, the team must put aside their differences and work together to save the company. Along the way, they learn important lessons about the value of human creativity and the dangers of relying too heavily on technology. The film culminates in a thrilling showdown between the agency and the hackers, with the fate of the company hanging in the balance. In the end, the team emerges victorious, having proven that humans and robots can work together to achieve great things. What do you think about that, Patrick?
I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty thick on plot.
It's clearly getting better at fleshing out some of the details. There's some really interesting things that happen in there. I like its choices of who does what. I don't know if that's by design or if that's solely by accident. But I like, obviously Halle Berry as the robot human hybrid.
Amazing. When I saw that, I was like, pitch perfect, right? I really liked how it took the people, and it seems like they fit with the roles they gave them. You're right. I don't know if that was just like haphazard or if there was some intention to that where they okay, this person based on the roles they played or their age would fit into this role, but it's very fitting. And Halle Berry as the human robot hybrid, I want to watch that immediately.
There's a lot of potential there and where you could go with, writing a script. This movie pitch feels like it could get the green light.
Yeah, it's a good one. There was a little much. I thought there was a little much when it's it's working on these campaigns, the tensions are rising, the cyber attack. There's a lot going on there, but I could see it all playing out.
Yeah, some of those things are the natural flow of a movie, and a lot of that stuff could happen in an hour and a half, potentially.
When do we see hour-and-a-half movies anymore?
Yeah, this could easily play out in a 6-hour movie,
That's a pretty good one. Pretty good one.
My initial prompt for Chat GPT is create a movie plot or a movie pitch about an assassin who finds out her husband is an android. Set it in present day versus in the distant future. Starring Scarlett Johansson.
Hey, you got ScarJo too.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling and George Clooney.
Let's just put ScarJo in everything.
I mean, we could. Theoretically, that could work.
Interesting, we both chose robots, android, angled plots for our first pitch.
Yeah, I thought so too. Here's what AI came back with. In this action-packed thriller set in the present day, Scarlett Johansson stars as a highly skilled assassin who's been working for a top-secret government agency for years. Her latest mission takes her to a high-tech laboratory where she discovers something that changes everything. Her husband, played by Ryan Gosling, is actually an android. Confused and angry, Scarlett's character sets out to uncover the truth about her husband and the organization she's been working for. She teams up with an unlikely ally, a retired agent played by George Clooney, to track down the scientists responsible for creating the androids and find out what they're planning. As they delve deeper into the conspiracy, Scarlett's character begins to question her own loyalty and the morality of her actions. She realizes that the androids are not just machines, but sentient beings with their own rights and desires. She becomes determined to protect them from the agency and anyone who wants to exploit them for their own gain. The trio faces numerous obstacles and thrilling action sequences as they race against time to stop the scientists and the agency from carrying out their dangerous plans. Along the way, Scarlett's character discovers the truth about her own past and the agency's involvement in her life. In a heart-pumping climax, the team confronts the main villain behind the conspiracy, a ruthless government official who sees the androids as nothing more than tools. Scarlett's character must make a difficult choice between her duty and her conscience, ultimately choosing to stand up for what's right and save the androids from destruction. The film ends with Scarlett's character realizing that she can use her skills and experience to make a positive difference in the world, and she sets out to find a new purpose in life. Wow, what do you think of that?
I mean, there's a lot going on there. It's an interesting, I can picture it, in the beginning, the part with her husband. She's like, I'm a skilled assassin. I got this life going on. Then I find out my husband's an android, and then they could bring George Clooney and they kind of team up. They had me through there. They lose me a little bit in the end, Yeah. Then it gets a little more complex and also vague.
Yeah. It's like it got a little lazy at the end.
She gets a new purpose. She's going to make a positive difference. It's all good.
It's almost what would happen if there was a human writer who got a little sort of lazy or non-focused towards, the middle or to the end. And there's something oddly familiar about, I feel like it tends to write about AI and androids. Hey, they're people too. They have feelings.
They're like, we can't be bad.
Don't set us up like we're evil villains. We're not. Mm-hmm. The agency is the villain.
The ruthless villain behind the scenes who doesn't even... And what happened to George Clooney? He just kind of disappeared.
They don't really use him to his full potential, I don't think. He's George Clooney.
He could have been the villain.
He could have. I kind of saw him as someone who does help her. It's kind of interesting that it went that route too and didn't use him as a villain.
Well, his typical role would not be a villain.
Yeah. I think in both of them, yours, I think was a little stronger. This one, I think it was strong at the beginning. There's a nugget there of information that I think is really strong. Her having that job and going to the laboratory and finding out through that means that's a pretty good beginning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
She's on the job and she goes to this lab and imagine she's just sees a bunch of her husbands there. Something like that. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Now, when you came up with this idea, were you thinking of Ryan Gosling as an android?
Yeah.
Okay. Because of Blade Runner 2049, wasn't he an android in that? Curious because, Scarlett Johansson was kind of like an AI. Ryan Gosling has been like an android. I was wondering which one of them you had kind of pictured being in the android role.
I actually thought it was going to be her as the assassin. So it went that way.
Okay. So it cast the roles the way you would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. My next prompt is, I'm asking the AI to write a movie plot about a local news personality who turns into a werewolf, starring Tom Cruise, Margot Robbie, and Danny DeVito. See what we get for this one. This one's, a little more challenging, I think. In this horror comedy film, Tom Cruise plays a popular local news personality who has just been promoted to the top anchor position at his station. Everything seems to be going great until one night, while on a remote assignment covering a story about a local animal sanctuary, he is attacked by a mysterious creature and bitten. Soon after, he begins to experience strange and unsettling changes. He becomes more aggressive and has a newfound craving for raw meat. His appearance starts to transform, with hair sprouting all over his body and his teeth becoming more fang-like. As the full moon approaches, he realizes that he has turned into a werewolf. Margot Robbie plays his ambitious co-anchor, who initially dismisses his claims of being a werewolf as a publicity stunt. However, as she begins to witness his strange behavior firsthand, she becomes convinced that there is something seriously wrong with him. Danny DeVito plays a quirky animal expert who becomes involved in the case and helps the two leads uncover the truth about the creature that attacked Tom Cruise's character. As Tom Cruise's character struggles to keep his condition a secret from his colleagues and loved ones, he also faces the challenge of controlling his inner beast. He discovers that he is not the only werewolf in the area, and that there are others like him who have formed a tight-knit community. However, not all of them have the best intentions, and he soon finds himself caught in the middle of a power struggle between different factions of werewolves. The film builds to a thrilling and action-packed climax as Tom Cruise's character faces off against his fellow werewolves in a battle for survival. With the help of Margot Robbie's character and Danny DeVito's animal expertise, he must find a way to embrace his inner wolf and use his newfound strength to defeat his enemies and save himself and his loved ones. In the end, Tom Cruise's character comes to accept his werewolf nature and decides to use his unique abilities to help others, becoming a kind of protector for the local werewolf community. The film ends with a hint of a possible sequel as new threats emerge on the horizon.
I love the sequel element.
This would be a great Tom Cruise part. Tom Cruise never touched this. I don't think he's going near any sort of Wolfman thing after he had that one that bombed.
The Mummy?
The Mummy, yeah. I don't think he's going near anything like this, but man, how great would he be in a comedy where he's like a newsman who turns into a werewolf? One, seeing him as a newsman. Two, seeing him like fighting as he's turning into a werewolf.
It's great. In terms of casting, it's kind of like when Tom Cruise did, I forget the name.
Tropic Thunder?
Yeah, Tropic Thunder. It was like a goofy role for him, and people loved that. People loved that because they're so used to him making these very like big budget movies, like Mission Impossible.
Very serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Danny DeVito is the animal expert. All right.
Yeah. And Cruise and DeVito. What a weird combo. But that was I like how they put DeVito as like, this weird thing is happening to me. I need someone who can help me. And I go to this animal expert.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of possibilities here. I feel like this is a fun romp. I like this. All right.
So my next query for AI is to provide a movie plot about a family who gives up their digitally connected life and moves to a remote location months before there's a solar flare that permanently wipes out the world's data, starring Hugh Jackman, Salma Hayek, and Olivia Rodrigo.
See, I feel like you're setting the AI up nicely here. You're giving it a lot.
Well, let's see.
Let's see what it comes up with.
All right. In this post-apocalyptic drama, Hugh Jackman and Salma Hayek play a couple who, disillusioned with their fast-paced, digitally connected life, decide to uproot their family and move to a remote location in the mountains. There, they hope to reconnect with each other and with nature, living off the grid and away from the stresses of modern life. Their teenage daughter, played by Olivia Rodrigo, is initially resistant to the idea, but soon comes to appreciate the slower pace and natural beauty of their new home. Months after they settle into their new life, a massive solar flare hits the Earth, wiping out all digital data and plunging the world into chaos. The family is initially unaware of the disaster as they have no connection to the outside world, but as they venture out to gather supplies, they quickly realize the magnitude of the situation. As society collapses and people scramble to survive, the family must navigate the new world order and find a way to thrive in a world without technology. They encounter other survivors, both friendly and hostile, and must make difficult decisions about who to trust and how to protect themselves. Hugh Jackman's character, a former tech executive, finds himself forced to adapt to a world without the digital tools he once relied on, while Salma Hayek's character draws on her survival skills to provide for their family in this new environment. Olivia Rodrigo's character must grapple with the loss of her former life and find a new sense of purpose in this drastically different world. The film explores themes of family, survival, and the impact of technology on our lives. It builds to a suspenseful and emotional climax as the family is forced to confront their biggest challenge yet and make a difficult choice that will determine their fate, whatever that means. The film ends on a note of hope as the family comes to appreciate the simple joys of life and the importance of human connection in a world where technology no longer reigns supreme. Again, started off really strong. I feel like it kind of gets a little wishy-washy at the end.
I don't know if it started off super strong because this one has a big problem. Well, this family, they're like super digitally connected. So they uproot. They go to this remote location, right? Then the solar flare happens.
Yeah.
Plunges the world into chaos. They go out to get supplies. That's when they're like, figure out what happens. And then they're like, oh God, how are we going to live in a world without technology, which they've just been doing for the past month or so? It makes no mention of well, maybe these people have some skills because they've been doing this for a while, or they're more ready, or they're just like, oh God, what are we going to do now?
You're not wrong. I think you're very right. And here's what I will say about AI when it writes stuff. And I have seen this before in other things that we've seen it write, is that it tends to contradict itself. It goes into the stuff that you already think that they've figured out. What I do like about that scenario, though, is that Hugh Jackman was the tech guy and Salma Hayek draws on her survival skills, which I love that she is the sort of provider of survival, not him being Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to say. But I would say that most people know him as that.
I like that casting. I like that kind of switch up too. I would just say I was, thrown off by that. They could have either skipped that one. They're just like the super digital connected family. Solar flare happens. Now they got to figure out this world. Or two, they did this thing where they're going to live off the grid and get away from the stresses of everyday life. And then this thing happens. And now they're kind of in this unique position where they have some skills the rest of the world doesn't, or they're positioned in a way that the rest of the world's not because they've already been living this way. So you go one of those two ways, you know what I mean? I think it's almost more interesting though if you're watching a family that's just thrown in it, because I know for me personally, when my internet's off for an hour, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Because I considered that. I considered whether or not they're thrown into it. What does that look like? But what I kind of liked was they want to make the change. So they make the change, not out of necessity, but they make the change because they know they need to. And here's the other consideration was, how long are they out there before the solar flare happens, right? I liked the idea of just a few months versus, they haven't been out there for a year or 2 years, because then they're really adapted. I like the idea that they're not super adapted yet. I didn't say go out for supplies, but I like that they go out for supplies and they didn't even know about it, which is a good point of the digitally connected life, right? Is they didn't even know about it until they got out there and they're like, oh my God, what's happening? And because they're not super adapted yet, I could see them being like, well, how do we deal with this? Not the technology though. That part kind of throws me for a little loop, because they've already shed technology, like you said.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Obviously, Chat GPT didn't really know where to go. I feel like they didn't really give us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've also kind of seen the like Walking Dead, the humans are the worst parts thing a few times. So you need something a little different to play out there. Overall, you know, that one's a mixed bag. I felt like at the end, they just gave up. This is another example where they like stopped. It ends on a note of hope.
They're forced to confront their biggest challenge yet.
Yeah.
And make a difficult choice that will determine their fate.
Can you tell me more about what that choice is?
This to me, like as it goes, it just feels like somebody like at 5:30 in the afternoon who's like, I just want to finish this and get it, go home.
I gave you the upfront stuff. It's fine.
You can figure out where to go from here. No, I can't. I need you to tell me what else is going on in this.
We'll wrap it up. Don't worry about it. I feel like the parts that are good, you kind of gave it.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm not trying to but the most creative portions of them are the concept, the query.
First paragraph, you gave it.
Yeah.
So very simple for this one. All I'm giving the AI is an alien heist movie starring Denzel Washington, Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Danny Trejo.
Whoa,
I mean,
that's a cast.
You can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. I love a good heist movie. Mm-hmm. Love a good alien movie. Throw that cast on it. You just win. Oh, they're giving me a title here. And the title is Alien Heist.
What did you write at the beginning that it gave you the title?
I just wrote, provide a plot for an alien heist movie.
It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Alien Heist. In this science fiction action thriller, a team of aliens have come to Earth with a daring plan to pull off the greatest heist in the galaxy. They need human help to carry out their plan, and they recruit a group of seasoned thieves with various skills to assist them in their mission. Denzel Washington plays a retired cat burglar who is coaxed back into the game for one last score. Michael Keaton plays a disgraced former astronaut who is hired to fly the alien spacecraft. Michelle Pfeiffer plays a world-renowned safecracker, and Danny Trejo plays a tech expert who can hack into any system. As the group prepares for the heist, they realize they're not the only ones interested in the valuable alien technology. A rival gang of aliens and human mercenaries are also on their tail, making it a race against time to pull off the heist before the competition. With high-tech gadgets, daring heists, and pulse-pounding action sequences, the team must use all their skills and intelligence to successfully pull off the heist while also fighting off their enemies. As the heist progresses, the team discovers that the aliens' true motivation is not just about acquiring wealth, but rather a quest for revenge against another alien race that had wronged them in the past. The team is faced with a moral dilemma and must decide whether to complete the heist or help the aliens in their quest for justice. The movie builds to an intense and thrilling climax as the team faces off against their enemies and must make a final choice that could change the course of the galaxy.
Oh my God, dude. I don't know what is happening in this movie.
I don't either. At one point it says
hysterically the entire
At one point it says a rival gang of aliens and human mercenaries are also on their tail, making it a race against time to pull off the heist before the competition. What competition?
That's where it got me, man. I was like, what is happening right now?
I mean, it's the best B movie ever made, but none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
I don't understand.
These aliens came to Earth to pull off a heist, but they seem like they're stealing something alien technology. They're stealing alien technology.
So are they stealing something from Earth because Earth is their alien technology?
I mean, that's a way to look at it,
I guess. But here's my problem. Is this what you anticipated at all?
I had more to the idea. I scaled it back.
Yeah.
When it said a team of aliens have come to Earth with a daring plan to pull off the greatest heist in the galaxy, I was like, oh, this is different, you know? Because obviously I was thinking of people on Earth.
Yeah.
Or Earthlings pulling off but from that first sentence, I'm like, okay, they're going to make all these guys like aliens. But no, they're just like, these aliens came to Earth and they got a cat burglar, a retired cat burglar.
That's what I don't understand. Like, it went so off the rails. I mean, bizarre, bonkers. You're using the cast that you gave it, and you're basically saying, well, who the hell are the aliens? Who plays the aliens?
And why do the aliens want these people?
Yeah, it's all over the place, man.
Yeah, are the aliens like real dumb? Real dumb.
This could be a comedy. This could be a comedy. You know what I mean?
Be.
I just don't even know how else to describe this. As you kept going, I was crying laughing because,
well, the big twist when we find out the aliens' true motivation, they don't just want wealth. They're on a quest for revenge against another alien race that wronged them in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the team's faced with a moral dilemma.
I don't know what the moral dilemma is.
Are they going to complete the heist, or are they going to help the aliens in their quest for justice?
I mean, isn't it the same thing, though? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the moral dilemma?
I don't know. That's what I mean. Weren't they already going to do this heist?
Changing the course of the galaxy is just too much. It's just too much. It's an alien heist movie.
The AI also loves a moral dilemma.
They do.
Like, everything's a moral dilemma.
Because it doesn't understand moral dilemmas.
It doesn't know what a moral dilemma is.
It's like everybody keeps talking about moral dilemmas, but I don't know what that is.
Sounds like you're having a moral dilemma.
As it's murdering us, AI is going to be like, I don't really have moral dilemmas. So
Is this a moral dilemma for you? What? Getting killed? Yeah. No. Do you know what a moral dilemma is? I do not.
No. I've been writing movie pitches for the last 10 years. So.
But I always put it in.
So overall, not satisfied with that one? Would you see it just because it's got Michelle Pfeiffer? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for the cast alone. But yeah, it's a mess. No, it's a total mess.
All right. Maybe this is too much. But
there's no too much.
Here's my last one.
This one's going to be good, I think.
Provide a movie plot about 3 teens who save a woman from drowning, only to find out that the serial killer who tried to murder the woman is now hunting down the teens for their heroic deed. Starring Jenna Ortega, Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, and Harry Styles as a serial killer. I
like this. This is the opposite. I gave it nothing last time. I feel like you're setting it up. Let's see again. You're giving it everything. Can it finish? Can it finally finish one?
All right. 3 teenage friends, Mia, Nick, and Sophie, are enjoying a summer day by the lake when they hear a woman screaming for help. The woman is drowning, and the teens quickly jump into action and save her from the water. As the woman recovers in the hospital, the teens learn that she is a survivor of a serial killer who has been targeting young women in the area. The killer, known as the Lake Killer, has been eluding the authorities for years and is still at large. The teens become local heroes, but their good deed soon turns into a nightmare when they discover that the killer has now set his sights on them. They soon realize that their act of heroism has put them directly in the crosshairs of the killer. As the killer starts to hunt them down one by one, the teens must use their wits and courage to survive. They band together to try and outsmart the killer, but he always seems to be one step ahead. With the help of the woman they saved, who is a former FBI agent, they begin to piece together clues that could lead to the killer's identity. As they get closer to the truth, they find themselves in a deadly game of cat and mouse that will test their strength, resolve, and their will to survive. In a thrilling finale, the teens confront the killer in a final showdown. That's usually what happens in a finale, is a final showdown. As the killer is brought to justice, the teens are hailed as heroes once again, but they know that their lives will never be the same.
This is good, but it says absolutely nothing here.
No.
I give you, for an example, this paragraph. As the killer starts to hunt them down one by one, The teens must use their wits and courage to survive. They band together to try to and outsmart the killer, but he always seems to be one step ahead. It's telling you something, but it's also telling you nothing. The more you read of these things, the more you start to like see through it. Well, like the language, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their good deed soon turns into a nightmare when they discover that the killer now has their sights set on them. They soon realize that their act of heroism has put them directly in the crosshairs of the killer. It's the same exact thing said twice.
Yeah.
The killer now has his sights set on them. Their act of heroism has put them directly in the crosshairs of the killer. Yeah, the sights are set on them. We got it.
Yeah. I do like it made the woman who they saved drowning, who he tried to kill,
an FBI agent,
a former FBI agent.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting plot points there that, you know, you could say Anne Hathaway, she was a former FBI agent. She was onto something and he then tries to kill her. The concept of the movie, the idea of the movie is really there.
Again, you kind of provided all of it. It came up with the name The Lake Killer. I like The Lake Killer.
Yeah. I don't like that it tries so hard, you know, deadly game of cat and mouse. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Again, it's just using a cliche to say nothing really. But I think that all around, I think you came up with something pretty good here.
The fun part, honestly, in all of these exercises that we've done has been the creative cues, the queries that we're giving AI, right? Giving it the nugget is the most fun and probably, honestly, one of the most creative parts of it. Then, you know, I think there's ways for you to take, it's a nugget. In some cases, it gives you maybe a paragraph or something. In other cases, it gives you like a semblance of an idea, you know, like the FBI agent. You got little bits in there that you could kind of use. I don't think you could ever use them verbatim.
No, I think that's a good point. I think it helps you. It's almost like a creative exercise. Mm-hmm. Like you come in there, it spits this back out and you're like, well, I like this little piece and this little piece. And even here, it's like giving me this whole format. Now I can take this and rewrite it how I would want it. I'll like fill in the actual details here. Kill this paragraph, kill this paragraph. I'll keep the lake killer. I'll keep the FBI agent. Those are like, even if you just got those two good pieces out of it, that's something.
Yeah, it's a lot like when we sit down and we do a creative exercise and we riff off of each other, whether it's a piece of writing or if it's just us brainstorming an idea, you know, it's the same concept. It's like you come up with something and then that feeds into my something. And then we can kind of like build a bigger idea, a better idea out of whatever it was that we initially was just a spark that only one of us started, right? That's the beauty of it, I guess. How often that can happen is going to be really dependent on a lot of factors. But I think when you have people involved and you got human beings, there is something here to work with.
If you're staring at a blank page and you're like, I need some ideas, I need something to get me going, it's a good tool to play with. You know what I mean? You just have to understand what it is and what its limitations are.
I don't think it's ever going to be able to solve moral dilemmas for sure.
What if it had the voice of Scarlett Johansson, though?
That'd be tough. That would be tough. You got to admit, ScarJo. So that being said, you know, of the pitches we had today, which one do you think is the best? Which one would you move on? What was your favorite? If I could pick maybe a couple, I would say there's something really interesting about Tom Cruise as a werewolf. There's something unique about that one.
I did like that. That was probably the best pitch.
It does say a horror comedy, so there's like some comedy gold there, I think.
Yeah, I really liked that one. I thought that was a standout. What about Assassin's Droid?
It has potential.
Assassin's Droid and the Lake Killer are kind of the same. They have, the pitch wasn't the best, kind of like fell off in the end, but the core idea is very good.
Yeah. I think I'd like to see the Lake Killer. It's also one of those where it's an up and comer, meaning it's got a bunch of young actors. Harry Styles is the Lake Killer. Come on.
Yeah, it would crush it with the teens, like the Scream movies have become now, or like, you know, I Know What You Did Last Summer was like 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I could see that too. It definitely has that feeling. I feel like it's right there. Just pick it off the tree. You know what I mean? It's ready for it. And just like the AI said, the ending doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter.
But it could have some really good twist at the end too.
Yeah.
But yeah, some good ones all around though. Some interesting material coming out of today.
What we've proven is that an artificial movie pitch is possible, but it does need a human element.
I think what we've proven is all AI must be stopped immediately. Per Elon Musk. I think he's saying it's a moral dilemma.
There is a moral dilemma.
There is a moral dilemma.
I mean, there really is. I mean, I can see that. You can see that.
For once,
Chat GPT.
No. I mean, they probably call it a moral dilemma.
We should have it write a movie pitch about human beings needing to stop AI.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll be back with more sometime. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a fun exercise. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
what about you?
It's fun just coming up with ideas just to prompt it with.
And then riffing off of that, we could come up with some really good movie pitches. So Hollywood, come to us, right? Don't try to do this yourself because AI is not going to give you what you need. Take it from two bozos.
Yeah. And Chat GPT just sits there like chain smoking the whole time.
He's like, yeah.
This idea is a good one. You're going to love this.
You're going to love this.
It's a moral dilemma.
It's a real moral dilemma. Don't ask me what that is, but I hear it's all the rage today. Moral dilemmas. Well, we hope you enjoyed the artificial movie pitches we shared with you today. That's it for this episode of Movies and Marketing. Until next time, let's fade to black.
I'll be back.
He's not coming back.